Welcome back to Clappin Bombs. We're on episode 2 here. I'm AWOL. To my left, I got Eric and Robbie. In this episode, we're going to go over the Metropolitans' offseason moves, trades, free agency, and the likes. So, get things started off. Robbie, why don't you start us off with the first team here for us?
Yeah, so we got some strong opinions about this division. So I'm not even going to say their name. We'll get that later, but I think this is the worst franchise in the NHL. I can't say the worst team because they're going to win some games.
Are
but
they?
Where is this team going? They have no direction. Their players are talentless. I don't even, we're talking about the Flyers.
Are they going to win some games?
I don't know who's winning games for them.
Nobody.
They got no Giroux. They got no Voracek. No identity.
Sean Couturier is
no
going
coach,
to die.
No defense.
What do you mean no coach? They signed Tortorella.
Yeah, Sean Couturier.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. No Tortorella. Yeah.
Torts is going to have Sean Couturier blocking so many shots, the guy's not going to have limbs left.
I don't know how this team wins. Pull up the roster.
They don't.
You're
Look at that top line.
Okay, the best case scenario. How does the Flyers win a game? Konechny, Atkinson, Kevin Hayes have to score 5 goals apiece.
Each game?
Yeah,
Their third line's promising.
that's the best line.
I mean, Farabee's
Frost-
good. Frost.
I like Tippett because he's the only player that's outside of the Flyers organization for the last 10 years. Everyone else that's been touched by the Flyers is terrible.
Yeah, so
They had the number 1 pick in Nolan Patrick, and they blew it.
their big signings were Tony DeAngelo, who everybody hates.
Good, though.
Yeah, he's pretty
He's
good.
a decent hockey player, but he's a piece of shit.
You know what he's
locker room.
not going. You know what he's not going to be on Flyers? A decent hockey
Yeah.
player. He's going to be bad, just like the rest of them. Nick Delaurier, who is bad, and we all know that.
Yeah,
he's
fine.
like a prototypical.
He's making
enforcer.
$1 million a year. Who cares? He's not enough for me to give a shit about.
Torts is the big pickup. And they re-signed Justin Braun.
Konechny's been one of those guys that he looks like he can be a 40-goal scorer, but
He was also playing with Giroux at the time.
that
Bro,
too.
look at this defense. Provorov, DeAngelo, Sanheim, Ristolainen, York, and Braun.
and then they're talking about Ellis might not even touch ice
Yeah,
this
he's
year.
not.
So, they made that big move to get Ellis, and that is backfired.
Their best 2 defensemen are strict offensive defensemen.
Yeah, Ristolainen's never had some issues scoring goals, but he's terrible.
Oh, he's not one of their best
Yeah.
defensemen. No, I was talking about Provorov
Yeah.
and DeAngelo.
And they're putting them on the same line.
No, they're done.
Yeah, this is a night off.
This is the worst team in the Metro.
I mean, it
Yeah.
already was.
I didn't call them the worst team just because there's some bad teams, but they're the worst franchise for sure. In 10 years, this team's going nowhere.
And if you manage to get past their just absolute whopping defense,
Yeah, it's
you have to
disappointments.
beat
Yeah.
Carter Hart
Yeah.
and Felix Sandstrom.
What was he? Where'd Carter Hart go? Where's the 9-3-3-0 best goalie since Carey Price? Where did he go?
To Philadelphia.
The Flyers have ruined him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Crosby broke him on that one goal, one of the first games they played against them.
Which one?
Yeah, I mean, every time Crosby's played against them, he's broken them. But ever since then, he's just his confidence is completely destroyed.
Now, I know that this is coming from Pittsburgh and Washington fans, so you might be thinking a little bit
obviously
of
we're gonna be
bias.
a little biased,
But at the same time, this team is awful. They have
Metro's a
nothing
bloodbath,
going
and
for
they're
them.
not a part of it.
No, they are
No.
literally
No.
It's going to be a fight for last between them and Montreal, and we could not be more serious. It is an absolute joke what the Flyers organization is doing, and they're not getting better. We don't have to spend too much time on them because it's going to be the same story over and over again.
I mean, well, and then just remember, in case you thought that they were a threat last year, they weren't. Remember that? Remember that game where the Capitals scored I think they scored 6 goals, and then they just put Ovi out on a 5-on-3 with 5 minutes left in the game, and the Flyers players got mad. They were sad that Ovi was trying to get power play goals. Come on.
Team's a joke. Organizations is a joke. It's the same story every year.
They're like the new Columbus Blue Jackets. I mean,
I like Sean Couturier. If you want me to find a positive, I like Sean Couturier. Scott Lawton's a third liner.
I'll say this because Sean Couturier saves them from Kevin Hayes being their 1C. Yeah,
guess.
so I guess I like him.
I mean,
because 1C Kevin Hayes makes $7 million.
yeah.
For 10 goals? Does he even have 10 goals?
Connor Bedard's going to have a terrible time if he ends up getting drafted here, huh?
No.
Oh, my. Could
I
you
don't
imagine
think he
Bedard
could
with
say that.
Torts?
What a waste of Bedard.
Line A 2.0.
I mean, this Cam Atkinson for Voracek trade, what was that?
Bad.
Yeah, I mean, Voracek had, like 1 million assists last year. Did Cam Atkinson even have 10 goals? I did not hear his name after the first week.
Atkinson didn't
bad.
do terrible.
No, they
I didn't
they
hear
all
his name after
did
the
bad,
first
and they're
week.
all going to do worse this year. He had 50 points in 73 games. That's not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like more than 20 goals out of Cam Atkinson, though. I mean, that's not bad, but he's their number one winger.
Yeah.
You can't have 20 goals out of him.
Yeah, no, team's bad. I
And
can't-
God forbid any of these guys go down, and you got Kevin Hayes with.
My most positive note for the Philadelphia Flyers. Of all years that you want to be the worst team in the league,
This is the best
it.
year.
So, I mean, hey,
Yeah.
positives, I guess.
I mean, trying to make something out of nothing. But yeah, this is absolutely embarrassing. So
Everyone, at least they're not the Leafs. Everyone always jokes about that, but I think we
Leafs
should
have
change
been in
it
the
to, at least you're
playoffs.
not the Flyers, because what is this?
Yeah, there's
There's
very
a lot of
very-
teams hovering in mediocrity. This is not that. They're
No, it's
hovering
worse
in
than
bad.
that. Yeah, and they said that they want to compete. How?
All of their moves in the last 5 years have backfired.
how many wins do you think they win this year?
How many what?
How many wins do you think they get this year?
Less
Realistically,
than 25,
I agree.
How many did Montreal have last year?
28, 30, something around
Less
there.
than that.
They could compete for Colorado's
yeah.
record.
I mean, like I said, in any injury to this team, if what's his name? Provorov goes down, they're done. That's it.
Oh, they're talking about trading him.
Then they're done. That's it.
They're done before the season even started. Yeah, I mean, Philly's a joke. It's
They need to pick. They should just be blowing. They
finish-
should just blow it
They
up.
finished last in the Metro last year.
No, I don't believe so. I think New Jersey did.
Yeah, so they're finishing last in the Metro this year.
100%.
They stayed the same. They were, dog shit last year. They're gonna be dog shit this year.
They
Moving
should.
on.
They should just be trading everybody. They
Yeah,
should be
they
blowing
should have
it up
blown it up.
completely.
I don't know why they got rid of they got rid of Giroux. That's the end of the era.
Yeah.
Without Giroux, what are you?
nothing.
Bad.
Your identity's gone.
Bad. That's
Yeah.
what they are.
I mean, if the Penguins, we'll get to it when we get to it. But let's say the Penguins didn't make the moves they made this offseason.
Done.
Yeah, I'd
It's
be like,
over.
all right, Gensel, see you later. I mean, why would you even bother?
Yeah, I mean they should be offloading. Well, the big problem is that the players that they have that anybody would maybe kind of want, they can't trade because they're all signed to $7 million contracts.
Kevin Hayes.
They can't.
Nobody wants
Dude,
Kevin Hayes.
No one's taking Kevin Hayes or Rasmus.
I wouldn't take Kevin Hayes for
I feel
$4
bad
million.
for the dude. What happened to him? He wasn't that bad.
What do you mean?
Kevin Hayes.
Yeah, I mean he's not terrible. He's not a second line center, but he's not any
Fine.
worse than Kopp, really.
Like he's just.
He's pretty comparable to Andrew Kopp. But like looking at it, like what they can't trade that contract. He makes
No.
seven.
Nobody
Kopp,
is taking
Kopp
that.
is better than Hayes and makes
They
5.6.
would have to-
Hayes makes 7.1.
They would have to trade the contract and retain
Say it again.
75% salary.
7.1.
$7.1
They would have-
million dollars.
They would have
for
to
Kevin
retain 75%
What is that? Is that like
contract.
5 Phil Kessels now?
Yeah.
I mean.
Hayes.
Five Phil Kessels,
Five Phil Ke-
one Kevin Hayes.
Like they could maybe trade Atkinson. He has some positive value. But they already tried to trade JVR in this
Yeah.
offseason because they wanted to afford Gaudreau and they couldn't because they are paying Kevin Hayes $7 million.
I have nothing positive to say. I mean, I guess if I had to say something, at least potentially Carter Hart could always just, get back to the goalie I expect him to be. But,
He's not going to steal games for them.
I mean, I hope he does. I would like to see Carter Hart do good, but I don't know how.
He could steal like
I don't want to see the
Awful.
Flyers do good at all ever,
That
so
too,
I don't give a
but-
shit about the Flyers. They're awful.
I'm glad they're this bad. Let's put it
Because
that way.
it makes...
I do miss hating the Flyers.
Yeah, you
I
can't
me-
hate that team.
No,
They are
I mean,
they're on the
I
front.
laugh. I laugh at them. I laugh at Kevin
Yeah.
Hayes with $7 million. I mean, I laugh at that $7 million.
Scott Lawton's their first line left wing.
Moving on.
Yeah, as fun
Yeah,
as it
we're
is
just
to
gonna
dog on
bash
Philly,
on 'em,
let's
but-
move to a team that did better. The New Jersey Devils, they added Andre Palat and Vitek Vanacek is a big one. Marino as well.
I love Marino for this team.
I hate
I think
it.
they gave up on Butcher. Or is that who we got?
We got Ty Smith.
Tyson
Smith. They
yeah.
gave up.
I think they gave up on
way
Smith
early.
a little bit too early, but in return they got John Marino, who is fantastic. I love Marino. I'm really sad he's gone, honestly. So
I think that was a pretty even trade player for player because I think Ty Smith, like you said,
he's
has
younger.
a lot of potential.
Yeah, he's younger. I think his ceiling could be a little higher. I think they gave up on him a little too early, but they already know what they're getting out of Marino, and he's just gonna plug into their roster so well.
And I lost money on a jersey because Marino left. I'm very sad.
Vanacek's getting paid too much, but
Adding
he could be
Plot's
good.
huge. He's a really good support guy, and they just got all the kids in the world. I mean, we're just gonna talk. They don't really need to add because just Hischier and Hughes are just gonna take that next step.
They win the Holla
Yeah,
for Zaka trade just because Zaka was that bad. Holla will at least be fine on their third line.
Yep.
Not to mention what they did at the draft. They got I don't remember his name, the defenseman.
Nemec.
But, Nemec. I don't think he plays this year, but you know what?
Could.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, get him his 9 games in. And the biggest thing about this team is they're gonna have fun this year. As much as I dogged on Toronto last episode, it's the exact opposite. They're gonna have a blast this year. These kids playing, and that's how you win games.
Goaltending sketchy, but
What's a 1A 1B situation?
It is sketchy, but it's good enough.
yeah, this team isn't going near the cup, but they're good.
No, I'm worried about them within the next 5 years. I think if they do take a playoff spot, they aren't going to get very far, but they're really close to that next step.
I think that they have the pieces that they need to have. They re-signed Brought. They got Hischier. They got Hughes.
I love Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes is going to have a monster year. He's going to. This is the year where he's going to end up being
A name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what New Jersey did. I think they just got to keep going. They're not gonna get very far. They let PK Subban go, who at this point is the only
same issue they did
free
last
agent.
year, where they're gonna score a couple goals and also let in a lot of goals. But that comes with time.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about the Devils. They aren't gonna win no cup for a couple years, but they're in prime position to do so in 5-ish years. So as long as they just keep on keeping on, they're fine.
Marino, I do think, has another step. He could actually, turn into a real role player on that team.
The best thing about it, though, is that they don't need him to.
They don't
already
need him
have
to.
Dougie
and that's
and
why
Nemec.
and that's why I kind of expect them to, is because they don't need him to, which is great for them.
At worst, they just need Marino to be a number 3, and I think he already is.
He's past
He's
that.
already number 3.
His ceiling's way higher than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they already have. If I'm recalling correctly, I think Nemec is a righty too.
I
So
love
they
the way
already
their
have
I
Nemec
love
and
the way their
Dougie
team is
there.
built. Yeah, it's a really good, solid mix of puck movers, offense, and defense.
I mean, just look how far they've come in the past 5 years. I mean, if you look back, when Taylor Hall was there, that is all they had.
Yeah.
Right. So when Hall left, it's like, oh my God, what are they gonna do? They've really turned it around. Like you guys are saying, the next 5 years, I think the Devils become a real threat in the Metro.
I don't like putting too much stock into these advanced stats, but I saw at the end of the year last year, they said that based on advanced stats, Jonas Siegenthaler was the best defensive defenseman in the league. So all they need is to just work on it a little bit more, and their top 4 defensemen are going to be Nemec, Siegenthaler, Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way you need to build your decor nowadays. It's puck
And
movers.
Marino.
It's just
Yeah, all 4 of those
Dougie's
guys
one
can
of the
move
best
puck.
at it.
Yeah. All 4 of those guys can move the puck, and then that makes Graves their number 5. You could do a lot worse than Ryan Graves at your number 5.
I like the way their team is built.
Moving up to Robbie's second favorite team, he's in denial about it. We got the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Jets are out. The Jets are out. The Blue Jackets are in.
An off season for the Blue Jackets, signing
3
out of
weeks.
nowhere the prize free agent Johnny Gaudreau.
3 weeks, we heard Philly, New York, New Jersey, and then Columbus was like, how about us?
He said psych right now.
Meanwhile, everyone's like, what? Why? I'm still baffled by it, and it's happened like a month ago.
They had an extreme high and an extreme low. Their extreme low was signing Eric Goodbranson to a 4x4. Awful. And then signing Gaudreau, which was obviously the prize of the offseason. Now, do I think Johnny Gaudreau is going to score 40 goals and 100 points this year on Columbus? No shot. But will he pass to Line A, and will Line A put pucks into the net? Yes. Again, with the advanced stats, I saw a stat that said that Line A is the most confusing shooter in the world because he takes shots from his expected goals are almost like negative because they're like he's taking shots from positions he shouldn't be taking shots from, and then they go in. So
I mean,
nobody knows how to rate Patrick
Watching
Laine.
Laine for years, that dude his shot is insane.
Now-
There's no other way to say it. And putting him with an insanely skilled playmaker like Gaudreau, they're just gonna have chemistry, right? Like off the bat, I bet.
Now looking at the lineup,
Before you start, I don't think Boone Jenner is the 1C going into the season.
all right. Okay.
he's not.
I want to talk a little bit why we do this podcast for a little bit. You know, some people do it for fame, some people do it for money. I'm personally doing it because I want to get to the point where I can meet Boone Jenner.
That's a reasonable thing
Yeah.
to do.
He's doing it
Now-
for
My
money,
hero.
money to
He's my captain. Make it happen.
hashtag my captain.
Now
I think Cole Sillinger slots into the 1C.
I do not.
No, you know why?
Kent
Johnson.
Kent
Oh, shit.
Johnson
What
is
a
incredible.
stud.
I forgot about Kent Johnson. I
Yeah.
apologize. To all my Columbus fans, all 2 of you.
Kent Johnson he scored a Michigan at the World Juniors. All right, I
Okay,
mean, that's
listen.
enough.
I feel like the Michigan was the thing to do last year. I think we need to move
He
on
tried
to
it like 3 or
something
4
else.
times. I mean,
And you only got it once. Get better. I mean, look, everybody's good. I mean, again, we're kind of the same boat where Columbus is making some moves. I think Gaudreau was absolutely a huge signing for them. I don't think that's all they needed to do to compete. I think they need to do more. But with the addition of some of these younger kids coming in, Kent Johnson
This
and Marenchenko, I mean, their third line looks absolutely insane.
this lineup also doesn't have Chinikov in, and that's wrong
Is he
because he might be listed on the injuries. No, I don't know why Chinikov isn't listed here. He should be.
I would say their number one issue is like it's not a skill issue. It's just like they're obviously still dealing with a little bit of something from Elvis and whatnot. Elvis is still working through some stuff, and having flashbacks like every single time you score a goal is not a good place to be. So I wish him the best, and I hope he gets out of it.
They got a lot of good wingers. That's the first thing that sticks out to me here. They've got Gaudreau, they've got Laine, they got Voracek, they've got Chinikov. Obviously, Chinikov we don't know much about yet because he's still so young. But, I mean, Voracek, Laine, and Gaudreau are all guys that can hit 80, 90, 100 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
Easily.
we went to a Columbus game last year when they played the Caps, and we saw Charnikov, and he was just all over the ice.
Kid's a sniper. He's a straight shooter.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of guys that can just put the puck in the net. Right now, they got Johnson slotted in on the wing. I think it makes a ton more sense to just put him in center. He's their best center. And if you put Johnson in center and put Chinikov into this lineup, all of a sudden it looks a lot better. Unfortunately, division's too tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not making the playoffs for a few years.
They're
They're in this.
They're not a threat, but I classify them as annoying. Like you're gonna go into that game and you're gonna be like, all right, let's rag it up against CBJ, and they're gonna give you a tough time.
I think I think the biggest problem is like when you look at like a Columbus against New Jersey. New Jersey's they have a lot of potential. I think Columbus does as well, but there's also a lot of gaps.
Well,
For
their guys,
example,
and their guys are a lot older too.
exactly,
It's a big
look
difference.
If you
between
look at
them
their
and this year.
defense, their defense is kind of a mess right now.
Their defense is good, but not great.
You just said a defense with Eric Branson on it is
See,
good.
Here's the thing.
fucking Jake Bean.
Here's the thing about Goodbranson. He's not worth $4 million, but he's serviceable, especially when you put him in a position like this where you put him with Jake Bean, who is an
Yeah.
offensive defenseman. You got Jake Bean playing now with a guy, let's be honest, Goodbranson isn't moving up in the play. He's
No.
not. He's a stay-at-home guy. He's there to hit people. Putting an offensive defenseman like Bean with Goodbranson is one of the best things you can do to mitigate Goodbranson
he
being
did-
horrible.
On the Penguins, and after he moved on from the Penguins, he is all right. He makes too much money, that's for sure. That contract's terrible, but I like Goodbranson. The dude's thick,
Thick.
Yeah, he's
with a bunch of
thick.
C's. No, I don't.
I love Boquist. First off, they would have won the Jones trade if it was just for Boquist, and they also got a first. So they easily win that. Boquist's fantastic. Werenski's obviously great. Bean is good. They just don't have what it takes to win in this division, if we're being honest. It's just too tough of a division. I know I've seen a couple like NHL Network analysts saying that they're going to make it. They aren't.
You put this team in the West, and they're winning.
Yes.
They're winning a
Yeah.
division.
They make the playoffs in the West
East is
easily.
it's too much. I have Boston missing, and I wouldn't say this team's any better than Boston.
Boston
so.
could win the
They're
West.
they're about on par with Boston. I think.
Other than Johnson, I don't think they have much else. I expect Johnson to play the whole
No, they got all those defensemen. They just drafted
Yeah.
like 6 of them.
in terms of players playing this year, though.
No, this year,
As
I
the
know-
cat
who-
enters
who
the
was the
frame.
person
Hello, cat.
who's the person that just said he wasn't gonna play this season?
What?
Sillinger, maybe?
Oh, Juracek. Yeah, they got Juracek. I forgot about that. They did get that high pick. They got Denton Matejchuk, too.
Oh yeah, people I've never heard of. Hell yeah, dude.
What are you doing?
Juracek is going to be very, very, very good. Yeah, I don't think they have much else in terms of anyone else playing this year. I do expect Johnson to get the full 82. Why would he go back to college?
He looks so good in juniors.
And
then the World Juniors, yeah.
Him and Sillinger are where this team is for the rest of the next 10
I was
years.
jealous,
Of the Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
because
Imagine saying that
after
ever.
Watching him in the World Juniors, I was jealous.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's so good. And I mean, he already has a couple games under his belt from last season after the college ended. He played 9 games, had 3 assists.
After the college ended.
Yeah, after the college ended. What did he do in Michigan last year? 32 games, 37 points. That's good.
So he's a playmaker.
Yeah, mainly.
More or less.
But, I mean, you could do a lot worse than the line of Gaudreau, Johnson, and Line.
Oh, I mean,
If there's one player in the league that you want to put a playmaker with, or 2 playmakers with, it's Patrick Line.
Yeah, Line is just a natural born shooter. So, you know, I'm interested to see what Columbus does. Again, I don't think they really make a huge stink in the standings, but I definitely think they're better than people give credit for.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they're in this division because you put them in another one, they probably make the playoffs, but it's just going to be too tough.
I think
for
they,
them to
honestly,
do.
they just swapped spots with the Flyers. I kind of called it out earlier, and I think I'm just gonna stick with it. Yeah, they just.
Oh yeah, 5
Yeah.
years ago, we
Yeah.
were talking about the Flyers being the bubble team. Now it's the Blue
Yeah,
Jackets. I mean, the
you know,
Blue
like the
Jackets-
Flyers used to be kind of annoying, and I think the Jackets are now just taking that. You know,
Yeah.
now I'm just like, these damn Jackets. Get
Robbie's
the hell out of
also-
this race.
Robbie all of a sudden is also a Blue Jackets fan, so he's got a little bit of
Closet.
bias here.
Closet.
Little weird, but you know we take this.
Closet.
Next up, we get the Islanders. Probably again, it might be tied for one of the worst off seasons.
All right,
this
so
year.
here's my 30-second review of the Islanders. They traded for Romanov. That's all they did.
Yeah.
So this past week, we were dealing with the whole Kadri situation. Where was he going to go? There was a lot of talks he was going to end up in the Islanders. What that would have done
they
for
dodged
them,
a bullet.
I do too.
Yeah.
What they would have done for them, probably nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they just commit to mediocrity for another 7 years.
I mean,
okay, there is one big deal here. They got rid of Barry Trotz, who was carrying this team.
Barry Trotz was
know,
the heart of that team.
I don't remember who they replaced
Lane
him with.
Lambert, the
Lane
assistant.
Lambert.
Now, here's the thing. The last time a team fired Barry Trotz and then replaced them with the assistant, it went horribly. So, I like
It's
Lane,
gonna, you
but
know, it's gonna happen again. This team has no talent. You know, everyone's saying, "Oh, Barzal was."
Barzal hasn't done
Yeah,
shit.
Barzal was only being held back by Barry Trotz. There was a rift between them. You
Wrong.
know, now he's gonna score 80 points. You know, 40 goals.
no, he's not.
No, he's not.
No.
Who's gonna help him with that?
The
Matt
only
Martin?
thing, the only thing they have going for them is their defense and goaltending. Once again, they have a solid goaltending pair in Varlamov
Sure,
and Sorokin.
Their system always makes their goalies look great. It's a great system.
They got Noah Dobson on a great contract.
They
didn't
have
Yeah, 3x4.
no
3
offense.
years, $4 million.
Just no offense. You know, you ever watch them in 3-on-3, you'll know what I'm talking about. No offense. And you know, they got a few people who
Does Roddy make the team?
Rookie. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, if these guys come in and they, you know, Roddy and
Dufour is also on their team. They own Dufour and Roddy.
William Defoe. What?
scroll up a little bit. They got who's the rookie last year?
Bellows, maybe?
Yeah, Bella. I mean, if let's say Bella
Wahlstrom.
comes in, scores 20 goals, that's not enough.
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
It's not.
No.
They've got players coming up, like, I don't know. They just didn't do it. When every other team in your division, minus the Flyers, gets better, you
Yeah.
got to do something. And Lou, being 700 years old, did nothing. He traded the 13th overall pick for Alexander Romanov, and that's literally the only move.
That's
they
where
made.
they were strong at. Bolstering your defense is great, but what are you gonna do? Trap harder?
Trap harder.
Trap
And
harder?
How do you trap harder when you go to Barry Trotz?
That's
Yeah.
literally the only move they made. Now,
It's just not a game plan. It's not.
and here's the thing. Like, yes, they have Aturati and they have
He's great.
William
best of him.
Dufour, not Willem Dafoe. William Dufour.
The
Willem
Green
Dafoe?
The Green Goblin. That's
Yeah,
his nickname.
I'm never gonna not call him Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
They can't bank on two 20-year-olds to carry them.
Carry their whole offense?
Yeah,
I mean,
like that's just not.
Yeah, you know who's supposed to be carrying their offense? Matthew Barzal. Matthew Barzal has not done a
well,
damn
even
thing.
even if you say Barzal should be doing more, which he should, he still has no
well,
help.
I think the issue is doing too much. This guy
He-
holds the puck for way too long. He's gotta use
trying-
his teammates.
He is trying to be the playmaker and the sniper at the same time. It does not
Yeah,
work like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, could Wallstrom put up 25, 30 goals? Sure, but what's that going to do?
Is he gonna? No,
I mean, he could,
he's not gonna.
but this team's just, I mean, Palmieri
They're playing with a broken Zach Parise.
scored like 10 goals last year. It's just not,
Yeah, they're
that's
still-
not
yeah, they-
good enough,
They have
dude.
committed to mediocrity.
They committed to the bit.
They committed to the bit, and I think they dodged the bullet by not signing Kadri because I don't think adding Kadri would have done anything.
Oh, no.
I mean, what does he do?
It,
Take
it
out
would have
Cizikas
just
out of
ruined
your-
their chances of turning it around.
It takes Cizikas out of your lineup and that's it.
I mean, I hope
The
I
players
don't
are
hope.
either the players are either old, washed up, or just plain mediocre.
Yeah.
Medium, like mediocre.
I'm not
to-
excited about. I mean, if I was buying jerseys, I wouldn't even consider any of these guys.
Dude,
No, I'd be
Anders
waiting for
leadership
Roddy.
lead.
Yeah, I'd be waiting for the next guy. I mean, and they're not even bad enough to be like where you're like, oh, at least you can maybe get Bedard because they're not.
No, they're not.
They're
They're
not
not going to
bad
get
enough.
Bedard.
No, they'll
But-
finish at like 20th.
So like, what's their game plan? Like, they're just gonna hope to trap everyone for the
M-
next 5 years.
Maybe they'll just finish the 13th worst team in the league again and trade that pick for nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
It's a good idea.
I don't even dislike Romanov. It's just that was their only move.
And again, like we said, even if they sign Kadri, that doesn't make a rift.
and I want him to put his money where his mouth is. Barzal's gonna get this new system. Not really because it's just an assistant moving up. Where's my 80 points? I want more than that, really. If Barry Trotz was holding him back, I want to see massive numbers.
I don't know how you can, as Lou Lamoriello, look at this team and be like, nah, we don't need to do anything. There's just,
How do their 30-year-old plus guys still have jobs?
I don't know.
Compare this to the Rangers. The Rangers just let everyone go, and they got way better. Where is this
Look at
with
that.
the Islanders?
I see.
They've held on to Matt Martin and Clutterbuck for like 15 years now. Move
Palmi-
on.
Palmieri had 15 goals in 69 games.
Nice.
Not good.
Yeah.
Go back to the lineup for me real quick.
Old.
I see
They're
like
all old.
I see
Yeah.
like two dudes in their top 6 that are under 30.
Yeah, and it's Barzal and
It's time to move on.
That's it.
They're
And
fourth
Bell-
liners
and
too.
Beauvillier,
Like
yeah.
Bevillier.
I'm just I don't-
JGP's 29. He's
The
basically 30.
Clutterbuck
he's also
Zizekas
not a top 6.
Matt Martin plan was fine for a little bit, if not still pretty bad.
No, the Martin Clutterbuck Cizikas line was great.
That's where they
8
go.
years ago.
Yeah, like why are we still doing this?
It
Let's
doesn't make
move on.
sense.
Yeah, they got it. It's time to move
These
on.
guys are still signed for quite some time. The only
Yeah. It's
Yeah, no, they're committed to this.
they
Like,
did nothing
They're,
and
they're
expect
still
it to
thinking that
change.
Matt Martin and Cizikas are just gonna
They
win games for
they
them.
want to pretend that the only reason they lost last year was because they started the season with 16 road games because their building wasn't ready. That's not why they didn't make
That's
it.
a bullshit
They
excuse.
didn't make it because they're a bad team.
They didn't make it because they didn't score enough goals. I'm tired. Like I said, anybody come up with an excuse.
Their game plan is like make it to overtime. That's their game plan. They're not playing the win. They're playing the
Not
loser
lose.
point. I mean,
Yeah, and that's not good enough. Not in this division. If
I-
Columbus can't make it because of the competition in the division, what are the Islanders possibly going to do?
I think the only thing that they're saving grace was Barry Trotz, and I don't know why they let him go.
they're playing an effective strategy. That's what they got going for them. The trap is effective. The issue is I don't even think they have the skill to pull it off.
Well, they let Trotz go for the same reason the Capitals let Trotz go, is because people wanted to interview Lambert and they didn't want him to because they wanted to have Lambert for themselves, which you do have to think of. I'm typically a proponent of coaches moving on
He
after
is
the
old.
first couple
You know,
years.
it could have been personal. He might not even considered coming back.
but
It might not
That's
even
fair.
been their decision. So
But at the same point, like, you got to do something, dude. They didn't do anything.
I mean, like
And that's not like me saying, oh, they didn't do anything. They literally made one move, and it was whatever.
yeah.
they signed some rookies.
They re-signed some people, and they traded for Romanov. The trade for Romanov is the only move they made. No free agents, no other trades, no other acquisitions. They traded for Alex Romanov. And then that pick got traded for Kirby Dach. That would have been better. For
Yeah, I
New
mean,
York.
it
Like,
wouldn't have
I'm
made a
also
difference,
I'm not super high on Romanov. I mean, this guy.
He's
I'm
okay.
higher on John Marino than I am Romanov.
Yeah,
I'm just not
he's
super
alright.
excited about him. I mean, he's all right.
it's-
He was on Montreal. Maybe we'll see what he does on a different team. But
yeah, I mean, the Islanders do have a good defense, and they do have good goaltending, but you can't win if you don't score. And they don't have the ability
I'm
to
kind
score.
of sick of their excuses too, because the last couple of years it's been this, or it's Arena or John Tavares left, or I'm on the excuses. Your team's just kind of bad.
F
Yeah.
grade.
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
Yeah, they're not bad enough to give them F, but it's definitely D territory.
So next up, we got the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Just kind of ran it back. Resigned all the stars. Pretty good contracts. They're all making a little bit less, or about even. They re-signed Raquel, which I thought had no chance of happening.
Yeah, I'm super surprised by that, and I'm okay with it.
And they ended up just kind of retooling their defense. I think it's on paper. I'm a little skeptical about it. It's interesting to see where it's going to work out. It's about the same contract wise. So I think they really thought that they needed to retool. I like that they got rid of Matheson because I don't think he was going to have the same year he had last year. And
They traded him on a
Petrie.
high for sure.
Yeah, they traded on a high for a really good, proven offensive righty. And I'm
a
cool
veteran
with that.
defenseman.
And Smith, I think, can potentially bring a lot, and it does open a spot up for POJ. So I like it, but getting rid of Marino, it's a lot to bank on. You're gonna bank on getting rid of those, getting rid of one of our better defensemen for some question marks, we'll call them, because I don't know a lot about Smith and all that, but I think it could work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Joseph and Smith, I think that that's really the only positional battle going into camp is that last defense spot. I think that, Dumoulin and Letang are obviously set. Pedersen Petrie is set. Ruda is set. You're going to have the guy that just won 2 cups.
Oh, I forgot to mention Ruda. I do like Ruda a lot.
I do too.
Yeah. This is the first time I think we've actually had, a really. We have Ruhwedel too, so Ruhwedel is pretty good on the third pairing. So we actually have some pretty good defensive depth for a change.
I think a lot of the Penguins' issues come due to injuries.
Don't forget Friedman, too.
Losing Jari in the playoffs just was a big L. There's really no way to replace him.
The Pens always deal with injuries, and that's if we can kind of solidify ourselves having the depth, especially on the defense. The defense always is what kills us, right? Obviously,
I
you
think
need
we have like 8 or 9 defensemen now. We actually have an excess of defensemen, which
Yeah,
is
they have
kind of
way too
nice.
which is not a problem, right? Sometimes I think we're one player of a roster right now, but that's an easy cut to make eventually down the
Right
road
now they
after
got
training camp.
8.
Yeah.
That's really
And the
Friedman.
person that gets cut is Friedman.
But, no, Smith gets cut because he can go down without waivers.
Oh,
That's
is he-
that's the
yeah,
only
is he-
reason why
is he
Smith
on a
isn't.
two-way?
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Okay,
Smith
I didn't know he
isn't
was
gonna
on a
make it.
two-way contract.
I don't see Smith making the team because he's on a 2-way contract.
He'd have to really
He'd have to blow some
he'd have
people's
to-
minds.
He'd have to. If POJ didn't make the team last year, there's no way Ty Smith makes it this year.
I still don't think Smith makes it.
Um,
It's just too easy to be able to swap that contract down
what
into
I
the
just
minors.
said.
I do absolutely love the fact that Raquel was re-signed. I don't know how they pulled that off, but it opens up so much flexibility because he was magic with Crosby,
Yeah,
So
I
you
think-
can put Russ back with Malkin.
Why did we
hopefully
resign?
Zucker stays alive for this year because I like him when he's alive, but he's dead most of the time.
Why did we resign Kasperi Kapanen?
Because it's
he's
stupid to give up on
where are
him.
you gonna? Who's you gonna get better than him? He's not really signed for much.
Yeah,
It's-
okay.
and-
Here's the thing: you want to not re-sign Kasperi Kapanen? Cool. Josh Archibald for sure makes your team now. And guess what? He's terrible.
I don't know. I do think
I
I'm
like
giving up
Kapanen. It's one of those things that it opens up a lot of flexibility because these guys can play up and down. The thing I really want to see is, some of the Penguins prospects on the forward side, I really want to see them make this team. They need to.
There's
we got
just no room.
We got Drew O'Connor, we got Pauline, we got Legaret. When do they make the team? They've been on the prospect side for a couple years now. They got to make it pretty soon.
Yeah, but where are they gonna play?
I mean, take Josh Archibald's spot here.
Okay. Well, this
Drew O'Connor should be on this team.
Well, this lineup also doesn't have Hein in it.
Heine's signed. Yeah, I forgot.
So,
I want Drew O'Connor on this team.
Theodore's
Where?
Blugers.
That's the thing. Where? Like, okay,
Forgot a little bit.
yeah, you can knock Paling and Archibald
I do
out.
I'm pretty interested in Paling. I
Now,
watched some highlights on him. He the first goal he came in and got a hat trick. That's pretty nice.
Now the easy move, or the easy to say move, is just get rid of McGinn. But there's no shot. His contract's horrible and he's bad. So like they're stuck with McGinn. You gotta play him.
But okay, it's still nice to know that like we have these guys in our back pocket. So like when the Zucker or the Kapanen or the Malkin get hurt, we're not completely boned like we've been in the past.
I'm gonna say
I would
something.
really like to see these guys put some time in this year though.
I'm gonna say something potentially controversial. You need more from Malkin.
That's not
You need
controversial
more-
at all.
you
That's
need more
completely
from Malkin.
That's a completely valid statement. I think Malkin had a very below average season last year. I think he has for the past couple of years. The only time Malkin steps up was when Crosby's hurt, and that is not how we're gonna win
The
games.
last time Malkin had a good season, was when Crosby got hurt. But he had he was pretty magic with Gensel. He was way above a point per game that year.
And I get it.
I
42 points, 41 games. That's a point per game.
But he hasn't played a full season
The
ever.
It's one of those things like Crosby and Malkin both had COVID last year, and it's really hard to judge how that affects you. But everyone at this point has gone through that more or less. So I'm really hoping Malkin, Crosby, Letang can just stay healthy and put up some numbers this year.
If Letang has another season like he did last year, I have a lot of
He probably had
confidence
his
in the
best
Penguins.
season last year.
He played absolutely insane last year. There's a lot of times last year when Letang made plays that the prior years you're like, I didn't know he could do that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that he's done in the past that's really just like what the hell is he doing? But I think the Penguins, like I said, I hate the loss of Marino. Ty Smith is an interesting trade. I think that it might benefit us in the future. And right off the bat, it's not going to because, again, Marino's a proven player. He's a proven defenseman.
I don't know if I agree with that, though, because there is something to addition by subtraction. They already had too many defensemen. If you want Joseph in the lineup, you were going to have to cut somebody.
Sure, and I'm not saying it's a bad trade. I'm just saying you're losing a proven defenseman that knows the system, knows what he's doing, has had nothing but decent to good season since he's been on the team. It's just hard to lose someone like that. I'm not saying he's a leader in the locker room or anything crazy like that, but he was a young player that had a lot of good potential in him.
I'd like to say everyone is going to work out. I think Petrie is, he's not the first line pairing defenseman.
He doesn't have to be.
He's not going to be. He's just going to come in, play some solid D, score some goals.
Well,
I like that.
The last time that he was a second pairing defenseman,
He did pretty good. Yeah,
he did insanely good.
Yeah, I still have flashbacks to when he he scored those goals against us in the bubble.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
People were quick to judge Petrie on last year when he played on the league's worst team, and in a role he's never had to play.
This guy's been solid his whole year, so I'm excited to see how he works out.
He went from playing behind Shea Weber to being the number one guy.
Yeah.
That is a big step.
Yep. I'm excited to see what the Pens do this season. I mean,
I think that Gensel, Crosby, and Raquel are going to be insane.
Yeah.
That's the big difference between this team and the Bruins. I mean, they're both old. They're both on their downside of their cup contention, but the Penguins still got a lot left in the tank with these guys on the wings. And I'm just not getting that from the Bruins. It's a little weird to say that because obviously the Bruins wingers are better.
I
but
don't think so.
No, they are.
Pasternak is the
Pasternak
is the
and
battery
Marchand
on that
obviously-
team.
And Hall. I mean,
and
you
Hall.
can't
So-
say Hall
are
isn't.
very good, but after that, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's the same for the Penguins, though.
But the Penguins are just they have.
I don't know.
solid
I
defensemen
guess
all
it's a little biased, but I mean, even then, I would say Ross gets close to 40. Gensel gets close to 40. I'm gonna expect Raquel to get.
Raquel's not gonna score 40.
Gensel had a kid.
I think he's gonna get close though.
Dude,
He's not gonna score 40 goals.
Gensel had a kid. He's got dad powers now.
Tad Gensel.
Raquel-
God, that guy still looks
Raquel's good.
15. He's a kid. Jeez.
Raquel's good for 80 points, but there's no way he's getting 40
Sure,
goals.
well, that's fine.
I don't
with
need
me
him to get
too.
40
Yeah.
points.
Well,
I
I'm
don't need him to
just
get
I'm just
40
My
saying
point
he's
is,
not
like,
going to score
These
goals.
guys don't look like the names, but I think they can still put up the points. And then we have like a way of just that 1-2-3 center punch. Everyone's gonna bash on Carter for some reason, but he's great.
Dude, I love Jeff Carter.
Yeah. I just think the Penguins have lost more life than the.
Also, we're
Bruins
bringing
do.
I
back
agree with
Jari
that.
off an extremely hot year. Jari is
Jari's-
coming back, and he's coming off.
I think Jari's an above average goalie, but I think the defense the Penguins play really allows him to shine.
I agree.
So
I think that as someone who is less biased, I think that their entire season rides on Evgeny Malkin. If he doesn't step up, they're not going to make it anyway.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. They signed him to a really good hometown contract for.
well, him
for
and
Malkin.
Rust have always been great. We haven't had any chemistry. We haven't had any stable lines in a long time. So this is the first year I'm looking at these lines and going, yeah, these guys are going to play with each other for 60 games, and I'd like to see what they can do under that.
You can also it's hard to always ever discredit Mike Sullivan.
Yeah,
Right.
he's
I
a
mean,
fantastic coach.
I think that he brings a lot to the team.
He's able to get so much out of these guys that everyone's like, how?
But
My
again,
only-
I don't disagree with you. Malkin needs to step up and do
My
something.
only criticism of Mike Sullivan is that every year he just picks one absolute scrub to just completely put all of his faith into. Friedman, Rodriguez, Simone. I
mean-
do like them not bringing back Rodriguez, and the fact that he's still unsigned at this point is testament to
There's
that
just no.
everyone else
Here's the
thinks
thing,
that too.
Robbie. You want the younger kids to step up. You bring back Erod, that completely goes out of the window.
Yeah, I would much rather play Pauline Legare.
Absolutely.
Then
Drew
again, I'd
O'Connor
rather
over
have
Erod.
Rodriguez
Over
than
Josh
again.
Archibald.
Josh Archibald better not even play a game.
I doubt he does.
If Archibald gets a sweater in the
Even
NHL
then,
this year,
like, he's
oof.
I would say he's their only dedicated penalty killer. Well, I guess even Teddy's
Taylor's
not. So
Bluegers.
I'm okay with it. Like it's not bad to have a single spot on your roster for penalty killers. I'd like a better one than that, but if that's what's available, that's what's available.
When did Dan Heinen sign? Because it says he's not there right now.
He signed.
Yeah, he's
He signed
Okay.
real late, but he's there.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what the Pens do. I don't think they win the division. I think that's a hope
Yeah,
and
I
a
mean
dream.
the trending says same, but when you had 16 playoffs in a row and you're still the same,
Well,
I'm
trending-
okay with that.
Well, being the oldest team in the league and trending same is pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm okay with
you
that.
know,
I think
and
the
that-
Pens make the playoffs. I don't think they-
Considering last year the Capitals were the oldest team in the league, and apparently that made them garbage. So
we were talking about GMs last episode, and the Penguins have done just an insane job being keeping their top core. You look at the other teams around the league, and no one keeps their core for this long.
I think
16 years is incredible, and
I think
they've
Ruther-
managed to dodge all of the mistakes that the Chicago has made.
I think Rutherford set us up for a very good long term, and then Hextall came in and kind of helped solidify that and make some good moves in the offseason and even in the middle of the season because he came in midway.
That Raquel deal was nuts.
But at the same time,
no one even
I-
knew he was available.
Exactly. So again, I'm excited to see what they do. I think they don't win the division. I think that's obviously a hope and a dream, but I think they have a very strong season.
My
again.
biggest complaint, and just a small one, is I think they need to be a little harder to play against. They're a little soft, but
Yeah.
that's pretty small nitpicky thing.
There's not enough. There's virtually zero grit.
yeah, not really. I mean, it used to be. Well, the only grit they have is when Malkin loses his mind and tries to take
I'd
someone's
like
head
to
off.
see just
We need Malkin to do that.
something
and,
small.
but also
Yeah.
not get suspended
Well,
because
it
I
was
mean, our
supposed
grit
to be-
is what
it
like
was supposed
Brock
to be
McGinn.
McGinn,
Yeah,
but he's
McGinn,
terrible.
but
I
I'm
mean,
not a big fan.
we'll
of
see
that.
what happens. So enough about the Pens. Moving on to the Rangers. So Rangers are interesting. They lost Kopp, but they
Okay.
kind of made up for
Big
it.
W. No more George.
Yeah, they got rid of
No more George.
Well,
Yeah.
well, it's
Huge
not
W.
even just that.
Wait, they signed Domingue?
yeah,
They signed
yeah.
the Domingue dynasty?
He's not gonna play.
No.
But-
They
But they signed him.
yeah, but they signed Yaroslav Halak.
No sevens to my boy Louis Domingue. So back on topic. They lost Kopp, but they signed Trocheck. I think that is
I mean, big W's just by subtraction here. No more Georgiev. No more Namath.
Yeah, I mean, losing Vetrano, I think, is going to be the worst one for them.
yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
but,
But is a very strong.
They replaced him with Trocheck, so it's not that bad.
I mean, they replaced Kopp with Trocheck, but they didn't
Sure.
replace anybody with.
I mean, they still
okay,
got
here's
good
where-
lines.
yeah.
I mean,
You're gonna hope that Lafreniere and Kakko really turn it on this year, I'd like a little more out of Panarin. He was not that great last year. He was good, but not.
He was invisible in the playoffs.
He was invisible in the playoffs, but
Until
he was
the
also
overtime
playing
game-winning
hurt.
goal.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Leaky. You really got to hope Lafreniere and Kakko take that step. I think I say that every year.
Good Lord, that fourth line's back.
And you are praying that Shesterkin has a 9-5 again. Without
Yeah.
that, they are nothing.
Yeah.
No,
they
because I mean, Lafreniere has he showed a little bit of promise last year. He started to have a better season, but I mean, it's still. I mean, I understand
Zach Jones.
the kid's coming
a
in with a
placeholder.
lot of pressure. Right?
That's a placeholder name.
Lafreniere came in expected to be the next McDavid, right? So he had a lot of pressure on him. So I think whenever he didn't put up the points like he was quote unquote expected to based on his projections, it probably
Yeah,
put a
we
lot
got to
on
give him
him.
a little more time because they were the, the COVID years that they got drafted. So I'm sure their development's a little hindered by that. But
Again, anybody can come up with an excuse.
yeah,
So the Rangers right now are looking pretty much the same as last year for more or less.
mediocre then.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're banking on freaking Shesterkin having that good of a season again, you're not. First off, he's not going to. I get that he's really good, but he had a historically good goaltending season.
I don't think he does I don't think it's possible for him to repeat
No,
the
no
performance.
shot.
But I still think he is one of the better goaltenders
For
in the
sure.
league. But at the end of the day, he can only take so many shots
Yeah.
without them going
You know,
in.
it's weird because they got good players, but I don't think they got a good team.
Vitaly Kravtsov should be back.
I don't know who that is.
He had
4 points in 20 games.
no, well, yeah, but that's because they refused to play him. So he went back to Russia for a year, and he's good. I'm telling you right now, he's good.
He's good.
Okay,
But-
again, I don't know these kids. I believe you. Also, let's talk about something else. Their captain's Trouba.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
I hate that. I hate that so
Ugh.
much.
He's taking over Tom Wilson for me.
He played hard and played on the line. He didn't do anything wrong.
He's an asshole.
He didn't do anything wrong. Hedl impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Like,
Headline.
I mean, he
Also,
was,
like Kreider's not scoring 50 this year. I'd be surprised if he gets 25.
he might get 25.
That's where I projected him.
Okay,
like
well,
he doubled it.
But then
all
you're
right?
saying he's worse than the Islanders wingers, and he's definitely not worse than the Islanders wingers.
How old is Kreider now?
30
something? Yeah, he's up there.
I mean, look, I think that the Rangers, they had a pretty good season last year. But
50 was a miracle. That's not happening.
31.
Their
It's not
whole
that old.
season last year was a miracle. That's my point. Like all
Yeah,
the
it
guys
really was.
completely
Shesterkin
outperformed.
carried them to the playoffs. I mean, again,
They also had
it's
like the
hard to
world's
discredit-
best power play too. I mean,
It's
like,
hard to
just not
discredit
gonna
Kreider having
happen.
50 goals because he did put up 50, but at the same time, like, that shit's not going to happen again.
There's been lots
That's
of
so
wingers in the past that have had
that's
50
so
goals and go on to do nothing.
That's so
yeah.
unrealistic.
I mean, Zibanejad's phenomenal.
I don't disagree with you. I think Zibanejad
Frenier is
going to
take some more steps.
We say that every year.
I like Kakko, but I mean, come on.
They have to
Yeah,
do something.
yeah.
They have to do
I
something.
feel like I'm just waiting with him.
I feel like I'm waiting with like their entire team for them to just
but,
do something.
But that's the problem with being at the position that the Rangers are in. They want to compete now, but the kids that we're waiting on, we should still be waiting on. They're only 20.
That's fair.
Like there's
They
no
did come in
reason.
really early.
Yeah, they came in basically,
and they've been
immediately.
impressed. Like Kakko's numbers are good. They're they're real good. Solid.
Half of the Rangers lineup is okay, let's wait and see, and the other half is like we need to win immediately. So like I don't know where they want to go with this, which is why they've been so aggressive in hunting down people like the rumors with Dubois and stuff like that. They don't know. They don't know what they want to do. Like I mean if we're talking Lafreniere, Kakko, Kravtsov, Hedl, Miller, Fox, Schneider. Those guys are all under the age of 24. Those are the guys that you should be waiting on. But then the other half of their lineup is Zibanejad, Kreider, Panarin, Blais, Ryan Reeves for some reason, Barclay Goudreau, guys that are Trouba, guys that are older that they need to win now with those guys.
Yeah.
So, like, where do they want to go with this?
Yeah, and then I mean, obviously they got good players. I'm not gonna be overly worried about it, but I still have them missing the playoffs. I think they're the last cut.
I think that it's
The last season was a miracle. Shesterkin could carry them potentially. I'm not gonna say that can happen, but I mean, just
It's
historic
so hard.
numbers, complete outliers. There's no way it happens again.
It's so hard to tell with these teams because they're all so close.
Yeah, I mean,
The margin of difference between the Rangers and the
even
Penguins
the
and the
Islanders.
Capitals.
I'd even say like the Flyers. It's really not that big.
Yeah, the Flyers are terrible.
What did you just say?
The rest of them, like the margins of difference between them is so small that if the Penguins get a key injury and they lose 6 games in a row,
That could be
that's a death sentence.
That almost happened last year, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
I
mean-
think that there was like a solid week where like Dumoulin was hurt.
and like when Crosby got
And,
COVID.
Yeah, Dumoulin missed like 5 games and we almost blew the playoffs.
I mean that's something that can
I mean, look at
realistically
it. Like,
happen in this
Jari gets
division.
injured, we lose the
Yeah.
playoffs. If Jari's in that series, I don't think we win the cup. I'm not being ridiculous, but we win
we
that
definitely
series easy.
Yeah, we definitely beat the Rangers.
I mean, it's just
They
the
struggled against the third string. Let's be real.
the margins of difference between the teams in the Metropolitan Division are just too close to be able to say, "Oh, the Rangers are on the out."
I don't think
they are.
I don't think anybody's a lock in the playoffs. Obviously, there's a few teams that are out completely. The Flyers, the Islanders, whatever.
Yeah, I'm just not betting against the Penguins and Caps until Crosby and Ovi are retired. There's no way. You can't get me to.
I am excited to see what Trocheck does on the Rangers. I don't know how much of what he's going to shake up that much, but I'm excited to see what he does.
At least with the Rangers too, though, is that you don't have to rely on Shesterkin as much because they actually have a good backup now.
They have a good defense too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I haven't really talked about it.
I think
but
Fox is
and
one of the-
Trouba are
Fox
great.
is amazing.
Like I'm not.
Miller's going to
Yeah,
take more
Miller-
steps
they
too.
They actually getting rid of Nemeth. That was my only issue with their defense. They have a good defense.
Trouba's a piece of shit, but he is a good defenseman.
I mean, like, Halak is a good backup goalie.
Halak is a very
Halak
solid
can
backup.
win games. Georgiev can't win games.
No.
Halak,
Georgiev is
no.
might be one of the
Halak
worst
can
goalies
win
in the league.
games. So Shesterkin doesn't have to play 70 games this year.
I still think he will.
I don't know how many he played last year, but I know that
I
they
don't-
gave games to Georgiev, and it was
I
a terrible
don't.
time.
I
for
don't
him.
think that they're gonna let Shesterkin just ride the pine because for whatever
He played
reason.
53 games, which
I
means
bet you
the
he
other
plays-
3 goalies that the Rangers played 29.
So you think that Halak gets 30 starts this year?
I don't think he gets 30. I think that he gets about 20, and I think that's good.
So so you're saying Shesterkin's gonna play 60 games? He's gonna play even more than he did
No,
last year?
you had to take into account that there's third strings for a reason. Domingue will get a couple starts.
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, I agree. I think that again, it's hard to
It's one of those things. They're in the West. I'd be like completely
Yeah.
different story, but they're
The
in the
Metro is
East. They're
so
in the
competitive.
Metro.
Even in the Atlantic, they have a better shot of being a
and,
walk.
Your margins are. It's just too close. You gotta be. You need that X Factor style, and
Unless Panarin just pops out of nowhere again. Yeah, I
Panarin's
mean,
great. I love Panarin, but every other team in the Metro has a Panarin. A couple of them have two.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. Next up, we got the Carolina Hurricanes. They made a couple big deals in getting Pacioretty for literally nothing because Vegas' management sucks, and Brent Burns. But then Pacioretty went and tore his Achilles tendon, and he's out for 6
Also,
months.
Brent Burns is like 90 years old or something, so it's not Brent Burns. It's retired old
Yeah.
beer league Brent Burns.
Okay, but when you look at they basically
It's
traded.
Jogger only playing home games.
But when you look,
Brent
they
Burns.
basically traded D'Angelo 1 for 1.
I'm not saying they
to
didn't make their
Burns,
team better.
so-
They made their team better. Or
But
at
it's
least
not
stayed on
Brent-
par.
It's not
just,
Brent Burns of 5 years ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't get overly excited about. I mean, I still think they're like a force. They're still my pick in the Metro as number 1. They're the best team in the Metro, in my opinion.
They're not, in my opinion, but that's okay.
They have no weaknesses.
No, they don't. They have very few weaknesses.
Paul Stastny is a sleeper
It's
pickup.
yeah,
for them.
he's a great.
They lost.
They have
Trocheck,
all the
but
stalls, right? Didn't
They
they pick
lost-
up all the stalls?
no, that Florida got Mark and Eric.
They,
it's Florida that got all the
they
stalls.
lost Trocheck, but I think Paul Stastny fills that gap perfectly fine. I
Yeah.
think he's a perfect replacement. for him.
Stastny still plays. He still plays good.
I do. I agree.
Their center depth is weak. The Kotkaniemi thing is hilarious, but it makes less and less sense as the days go on. The fact that they offer
Offer-sheeted
sheeted
him
him
out of
from
pettiness,
Montreal.
yeah,
They straight up offer sheeted him because Montreal offer sheeted Aho.
Well, he's still a good player.
Yeah, he's fine, but like as
it
he
hasn't really
slips in
worked
this
out,
lineup,
but-
you're like, okay, why did we do that?
The deep.
Slavin and Brent Burns is an unreal pairing.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, Brent. Okay, I'm talking.
I feel like Carolina might have the best defense in the league.
Oh, I've said that for years. There's no doubt.
They've just done nothing but get better. I think that their defense is absolutely absurd. I think Jacob Slavin is top top 3.
This team could really use a Max Pacioretty, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious that he's not really going to play much. But
I
they're
mean,
still
but
a
as soon as he
force.
comes back, I mean, it's
Svechnikov's still one of the best wingers in the league.
here's the thing though. I don't think that they need Pacioretty to make the playoffs. I think he comes back and absolutely destroys in the playoffs.
Yeah, Kucherov
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not exactly like Kucherov, but I think if there's a team that's gonna make a serious push at the cup, and they
Yeah.
have for the past couple years,
I
I think it's gonna be Carolina.
my big issue with them is just their playoff performances recently.
Who's their goaltender right now?
Freddie Anderson.
Freddie.
Freddie Anderson.
They
had a great
they
year
blamed a
last year.
lot of their playoff stuff on Freddie, but
And they have
I-
Antti Raanta.
I would
Raanta in the
really
back.
have liked to seen Aho and Svechnikov a lot more in the playoffs.
I agree.
Yeah, they just kind of were a little invisible.
But
and,
if they show up in the playoffs,
yeah, they need them to, because I mean, like you said, their offense is a little lackluster outside of that. But you know, as long
they
as they
signed
show
Honka.
up, they're gonna go pretty far.
They
Honka.
signed Antoni Honka. I don't know
Honka.
what's going on with the Honkas.
There's more than one Honka.
Yeah,
This is the first I'm
Antoni
hearing
and
about the
Julius
Honkas.
Honka.
Honkas.
Both are pretty decent defensemen that just can't find their
the
footing.
Stars had him for a while. Yeah, I
Maxime
never used that well.
Ladoilier.
That's the other one. They have
Yeah.
Antoni.
Okay.
I'm excited for Carolina. I think that they've always been a decent team. I think that I don't think they got.
I'm always scared of them.
I am too. I think that they always have a pretty massive presence.
I can tell you that their power play is going to be terrifying.
I think
Always
that
is.
adding Brent Burns helps. I don't think they really had a hole in their defense, but it's nice to have.
You know, it's
I
like
mean, it's
th-
never
if
you're never
there's
like, oh
ever-
no, we got Brent Burns.
If there's ever a team to play beer league Brent Burns on, it's with Slavin.
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, literal best two-way / defensive guy in the league. Like,
I mean, Burns just needs to flip into straight offense.
yeah,
Just
he just
score
he's
goals.
basically a fourth winger.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
don't-
that's the role he's gonna play, and he's gonna
Yeah.
be really good at it because he is a fourth
I mean,
winger.
look at this power play. Dude.
I think Carolina.
that's goals from every single
Yeah,
person.
absolutely. I don't think Carolina got necessarily.
I think they
better.
stayed the course,
I think they stayed about the same.
but
and
that's hard to do when you're that good. So
Yeah,
again,
I mean,
I think they stayed the same. They're still a young team. I mean, Jordan Stall's whatever, but I mean, he's playing on the third line. That's
it's another thing. I love the way they're built. Puck movers everywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm excited to see what they do. Again, I think that they might make a serious push at the cup.
losing Domi is probably a positive too.
Max Domi sucks. D'Angelo is an absolute cancer in the locker room, so there's nothing but positives there.
Yeah. This one says President's Trophy race. I agree. President's Trophy race. I wouldn't be surprised.
They'll,
You know?
they'll finish top 3, if not number 1.
And the final team in the Metropolitan Division, the Washington Capitals, they had 2 holes in their lineup. Fixed both of them. They had one of the best off seasons of all teams.
I really like the way the Caps GM managed this Backstrom situation. Everyone, was wondering how they're going to fill this 2C slot. And they managed to get a gift from Chicago with Dylan Strome, another one of those gifts. Chicago, what are you doing?
I cannot wait till we get to Chicago in the next
And
episode,
I
and we just rip them
absolutely
apart.
love the deal they signed to Dylan Strome, too. This 1 year, real cheap contract.
They
if he does,
retain his RFA rights.
if Backstrom comes back, it's no big deal.
Oh no, he
Yeah,
goes
you
to the
just-
third line.
No, you move Eller.
If
to
Dylan
get clear
Strome,
cap. Who cares?
pops off, it's no big deal. It's such a flexible deal for them, and it lets them reevaluate next year when maybe Backstrom's done or something. So I absolutely love this deal for them.
Yep, and then we can't also overlook their goalie acquisition. I think they had probably one of the best moves for goaltenders. Picking up.
It was either Kemper or Campbell, and when they both basically signed for the same amount, I mean,
I don't think either way was wrong. I like Kemper. I think I like Campbell a little bit
I
more.
like Campbell more. I think
But-
Kemper's solid. He's just a very he's like top 15 goalie in this league. When there's only 30 goalies, you want a top 10, a top 5 goalie, and that doesn't sound like a big difference, but it is when there's only 30 goalies.
I agree. I think Kemper is going to be a decent pickup for them comparative to last year when they were relying on Samsonov and Vitek. But I think
I
Campbell
am
would have been
curious
a better move.
what is going on with Kemper with that whole he can't see the puck thing. I hope he can see the puck this year. That'd be great.
yeah, they said he's fine. So
They keep saying that. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know
so.
who their backup is. Lindgren.
Charlie Lindgren played in 5 games last year. He went 5-0-0 with a 94% save percentage. So incredibly small
who do you
sample
play
size. St. Louis.
for?
Incredibly
St. Louis
small
is-
sample size, but
I
hey,
will
if you're
say,
going to take
St.
a
Louis
risk
is a
on
very-
somebody,
I will say the Caps are going to struggle coming out of the gate, and as we talked about earlier, this is not a division where you can do that. So
I think them.
well, the reason
I still think they're a really good team, but with Backstrom and Wilson
Yeah,
out
Wilson
to
on
start the
the
season,
IR is
that
bad.
is rough. And
If you
that's
had
asking
even
a
one of
lot.
them, it makes a difference.
Yeah, and just having 2 of your best players off the team at the start. I mean,
The Backstrom
TJ
one.
Oshie's really had to put this team on his back the last couple of years. You're gonna ask him again to do that.
What's the
Wilson's
expected?
out. Wilson's out for 3 months.
Yeah, and that's
That's
a lot of
long
games.
time.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
and like let's say that they normally win
didn't know that.
75% of those. Now all of a sudden they're winning 50% of those, and that's
That's not
you know
okay.
that might only come out to 5 or 6 games. But and we were just talking about how that
Yeah.
Is he out 3 months into the season or 3 months from his injury?
I think 3 more months. I think he's coming back in November.
So that's like 20 games into the
that's
season.
the whole start of the season.
Yeah.
So, best case scenario, the Caps are 10-10 come
We're
his
hoping
return.
for that. Yeah, and that's who knows if 10-10 is even good enough. Like the playoff is just brutal in the Metro.
If by some miracle Backstrom returns to the lineup before the season starts, or even halfway through, between the start of the season and Wilson coming back, they have a better chance. But
Backstrom's not coming back.
Yeah, I like the
There's-
Capitals roster. It's just
there's
that's a
an-
big question mark.
There's an entire chance that Backstrom never comes back.
so that means you're relying on your leadership from Ovi and Kuznetsov,
no.
which is again not a bad. Ovi is obviously the best goal scorer of all time. We're not oblivious to that.
Also, I hate the Caps bottom 6 still do.
Oh, you're wrong.
Mojo and Sheary are garbage.
Mojo's fine. Sherry's not great, but
I
their
mean,
fourth line's fantastic.
here's the thing: if
How are
Mantha
you going to keep watching the Capitals and keep trashing their fourth line when Garnet Hathaway
Bro,
scored like
Garnet-
8 goals in
So-
7
can
games?
lick my balls.
okay, I don't care about their bottom six. Bottom six are typically irrelevant.
No, I mean,
especially
that's
when
how
you have
win
goal
cups.
scorers like
I look
Ovi
at-
and
yeah. Sure.
Kuznetsov.
Hey, you know who's on the Penguins' fourth line? Josh
Archibald.
Archibald.
You also got Teddy though. I love Teddy.
Theodore's Blugers. So listen, I think
Bluger's
that
worse than everybody right there.
if Mantha comes in and stays healthy and has a good start to the season,
Bluger
that
has a 5-on-3
definitely
goal
benefits
against the
them.
Caps.
But I do think that they're going to struggle out of the gate without Tom Wilson and Backstrom. As much as I hate to say it, Tom Wilson is a very good player on their team. He fits their game
They're
plan
playing
perfectly.
Connor Brown right there.
But
right
luckily, Conor Brown is a player that can do that. He
Connor
can move
Brown
up
is
and down
not
the
Tom
line.
Wilson.
No, he's not. But Connor Brown is obviously not Tom Wilson, but he fits there just fine for the first.
I
few
mean,
games.
everyone's gonna fit
I-
with Ovi.
I
That's
think
like,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
that's
I
the
think
thing.
best case scenario they finish 500 by the time Tom Wilson comes back.
I don't. I think they'll do better than that.
I don't.
I have to
just-
look at their schedule.
I don't-
Really
I don't-
to get a huge.
I guess
I'm
you get
expecting
strength of
500.
schedule.
Yeah.
I expect 500. I think that's realistic. If they have more, good for them. But that's where I'm seeing them at with.
I mean, I
two
don't.
key players.
I don't think that the Backstrom loss is that big though. They got Strome. If you compare their points from the last couple years, they're basically on par. Backstrom, you guys are rating Backstrom off of what he did 5 years ago, and he's just not that. His loss is not nearly as bad as you might think.
I think when it comes to playing on a team, though, it doesn't. But the points matter to a certain point, right? I think you're bringing a brand new player into a system where Backstrom knows what he's been doing for the past 10 years, right? It's gonna be harder for Strome to adapt to that and become that 2C and take over that spot. I'm not saying he can't do it.
I don't think that it is though.
Like, Strome at 2C still a big question mark.
Not really.
It is.
We could see Lars Eller.
I mean, he's played with Patrick Kane. Cool. Can he
Okay.
play with
TJ
and
Oshie and
That's
Mantha?
a huge step down. I know I like Oshie, but that's not Patrick Kane.
No, sure, but there's not very many people that are Patrick Kane.
Well, that's,
And okay, say he wants to play with someone better. Flip the centers.
Coochie's not gonna
Whoa.
go to the second
Why
line.
not?
It's Coochie.
If you need to shelter Strome's minutes, put him with Ovi.
it seems like the opposite of sheltering.
It seems like exposing him even more.
Nah.
I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying it's a big question
All he has
mark.
to do is get the puck to Ovi. That's all he has to do.
I
harder
mean,
than it
if
sounds.
Kemper comes out in a blaze, I mean, maybe he has 20 great games. But I mean, hope the best for him. But I don't see them.
They made the exact moves they needed to make in the offseason, and I think that they're the best team in the Metro. I really do.
I don't know about that.
It's okay to be wrong.
I think they're better than the Hurricanes.
It's okay to be
Oh
wrong.
wow.
Oh
that
my
is
God.
wrong.
You're
wow.
looking
They
at
are.
Martin Fairweather on the top one and tell me that's better than Slavin
Martin
and fucking
Fairvery's a
Brent Burns?
phenomenal defenseman.
He's better than Slavin and Brent
Oh,
Burns.
Alexiev's out too, by the way. Alexiev's isn't gonna play this year.
Yeah,
this
he should be
beginning.
back in January, but he won't. He's not going to play. That's why they picked up Gustafson.
Ugh, that's gross.
I mean, he had 50 points 1 year.
1 year when
Yeah, I mean,
fucking 80 years ago.
Chicago 5 years ago before they sent him to Philly.
And you're talking about
And they
we're talking
ruined it.
about Nicholas Backstrom from 5 years ago.
We don't know. We don't know about Gustafson. He just got done playing on the Flyers. Give him a break, all right?
everyone needs a break after that. Playing on
They
the
put him
Flyers.
on he's playing with whatever. It doesn't
That's who he
matter.
played with in Chicago. When he
Oh
put up
my
50 points,
God.
he was playing with Van Riemsdyk.
And Patrick Kane.
I think you're overrating this roster a lot.
They're
Look at that power play. Oof.
Where is Kuchi's
What do you mean, oof? They replaced Backstrom with Strome, and everything else is the same.
Yeah, that's an L.
Again,
That's
another
still the best power play of the last 15 years. Those 4.
No, the best power play of the last 15 years had Backstrom on it.
idiot.
Tom Wilson's not
don't
even on his
think-
power play.
I
You're
don't think
you're
Strome-
high.
Tom
I
Wilson's
don't
never been
think
on power
Strome is
play
that
one.
much
Yeah, he
worse
is.
than Backstrom.
Tom Wilson's not on power play 1.
Yeah, Tom Wilson's not on the first power
thought he
play.
was.
It's always
No, it's
Oshie.
Oshie and Butler.
Idiot.
I give a shit.
You can't talk shit on the team you don't like if you don't know them. Carl Hagelin is done for.
Yeah,
He can't-
well, Hagelin's getting replaced by my boy Axel Johnson Fjallby.
No one cares about Hagelin's whatever.
AJF's better than Hagelin. He's literally the same player.
We'll
just
see what
better.
happens. I you know, obviously being a very biased Penguins fan, but trying to look at it with an open mind, I don't see how they do better than 500 come the time Tom Wilson comes back.
Because Ovi could win the first 5 games on his own. He's done it before, and he'll do it
Okay,
again.
you said Tom Wilson, so they win 5 and they lose 15.
I think that you're underrating them way too much.
I'm not underrating anybody.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
I think you're overrating their filler.
There is no filler
What do
other than Sherry and Mojo.
Strome
and Mojo's
and
fine.
Strome and
Sherry,
Conor Brown.
Mojo, Eller, Mantha, Brown. That's all filler.
Manta's not filler.
Mantha's
filler.
not filler. How are you going to sit
What
there?
do you have,
and
like 10 goals last year?
You just
He was
said that
injured.
Raquel was going to score 40, and then
With
you're going to
Crosby.
say Mantha
What
can't.
did
Yeah,
Mantha have last year?
Because
What'd Raquel have?
I don't know. I had to look it up.
guess what? Raquel wasn't playing with Crosby for 82
This
games
team
last
is
year.
better than every team except for maybe the Hurricanes.
Wrong.
Oh, you were so high.
What? You
What?
think the Penguins are better?
No.
You think the Rangers are better?
No, God, no.
You think the Devils are better?
Yes.
No.
You're wrong.
There's
no
no-
shot.
My list of teams pulled up here.
I have the Hurricanes and the Capitals on even footing, and they're above everybody else in the division.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They've had 2 problems. They fixed both of them.
No, they did not. They,
Yes,
What?
they did.
How are they fixed?
They have another problem with Tom Wilson now.
He's
That's a
not
third
out
problem.
For that long.
3 months is a long fucking time.
I get that, but Connor Brown can slot.
I don't know who
Oh
that.
my
I've
God,
never heard
Conor
of him
Brown?
before.
He can slot in there just fine.
Oh, you're
I came
crazy.
until he has fucking 4 points in 20 games. You're like, he's just fine.
He's fine.
He's fine. You know what's fucking not fine? Conor Brown.
If Connor Brown could do what he did in Ottawa, there's no way that he can't do it here.
What'd he do?
40 points in 64 games.
Wrong.
He had 10 goals last year.
And he played with who?
Probably give him some good kids, Norris and all that.
Yeah, that line was to Chuck Norris and Batherson.
Yeah, it's
So
probably.
he played with Stutzel.
And who?
I don't fucking know.
Point proven. Playing with Ovi and Kuznetsov to start the year.
Don't care. He's not Tom Wilson.
No, he's not. But
You know,
nobody is.
There's been a lot of.
But you
wingers
keep
in
saying
that
he's a
spot.
fill. He's not a fill. He's a fucking Band-Aid.
And then he gets slotted into Mojo's position, and all of a sudden it looks great.
So he goes from the first line to the third, and it's okay. So
Yeah.
you're accepting a
Yeah,
third liner on the
They
first
got
line
him for that
3 months.
reason.
He's like Erod. That's where I compare him. Like
He's basically Erod.
Oh, wow. What happened at the start of the year last year when
Yeah,
Erod was in that
he-
position? What did he do? He scored like 15 goals and carried the Penguins to the
Erod-
playoffs.
and now he
Erod's-
doesn't have a contract.
Erod's
You're-
built
you're
different.
comparing him to a guy who doesn't have a contract.
Look, we're gonna sit here all night and bitch at each other about the Capitals. I don't think that they're gonna be as good as they were last year. We'll see.
I think you're wrong. I think they're going to be better.
Okay.
This team is going to make waves. I guarantee it.
At the fucking kiddie pool, maybe.
Yeah. Well, hey, we take everyone put an L in the comments for Eric.
Who is going to beat them? The Hurricanes, maybe.
The Penguins.
The Penguins are a way worse team than this.
No, you're wrong.
Oh, what? Malkin.
Yeah, Crosby and Malkin.
Malkin hasn't done
Okay,
anything in 5
Gensel.
years.
Boom.
Tristan Jarry.
Darcy Kemper just won a cup.
So
Oh, okay. Our goalie's better than yours. Yours just won everything, but that's fine.
McKinnon won a cup. McCarr won a cup. Sorry. I don't think anyone was singing praises of Francouz like with his 902 or
Well,
whatever.
we're talking about Kemper.
we'll pull up Kemper's stats in the
Yeah,
playoffs
you're right,
last year. I just
Kemper.
want to see.
I don't remember.
Prove me wrong. I want to be proved wrong, please. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I'm not above that. I'm wrong all the fucking time. Let's see. What did Kemper do last year?
Darcy Kemper
You're like a 9-2 in the playoffs.
won the cup. That's what he won.
With a 9-2. It was like the worst playoff performance of a cup-winning goalie.
9-2, 2.5 goals against.
A
He had a
9-2-1?
9. He had a 9.02. So
Yeah,
he's
sorry,
even worse.
that's what I meant. Sorry, I meant 902. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How was Jari's save percentage?
Pull up Jari.
He
Go
even
ahead.
played in
Pull
the
up
playoffs.
Jari.
He played one game.
He played like a quarter of a game.
On a broken foot.
Yeah, on a broken foot.
Pull up,
well.
pull up Jari's stats.
Okay, Kemper had an eye injury.
Yeah.
Boo fucking
You can
who?
at least recover from broken foot. How do you fix you can't see a puck?
That's Hagelin 2.0. All right. Before we get off track and we're going to be here for 3 hours, we got to go through and do our rankings of the teams, finishing the Metro. Robbie, you can start us off like you did last time.
Sure.
Eric, if you don't pull the teams up, so Robbie.
I got him. I got
I don't believe you.
first place Hurricanes, second place Pens, third place Caps, fourth place I'm gonna go Devils, and that's the wild card, and then everyone else misses.
Eric, who do you got?
Daily face-off, bro. I got Washington, Carolina.
You think Wash? Go ahead.
Yes, I think Washington's going to take the division. They've only not done it once in the last 6 years. Last year.
Continue.
Washington, Carolina. Guy got to go Pittsburgh. God damn, it's so tough, dude. The margin between the teams is so low. Like, I want to say...
Well, here's the thing. There's 4 teams.
I want to say the Rangers, but
It's not the Rangers. The Rangers fucking suck.
But it could be.
I don't care. I mean, do you
It's
say whatever you
so
want?
close.
I'm not banking on a miracle for my rankings, all right? I'm gonna bank on what I think, and I don't think the Rangers are gonna have a second miracle. That's not a miracle at that
mean,
point.
you're
Shesterkin
right.
does not put up 2 historic seasons back to back. If he does, I'll eat my words.
I mean, you're
If
right.
he's the
but-
Mario Lemieux of goalies, I'll eat
But
my
then
words.
I could say New Jersey, but then Columbus is also right there. It's just so close.
I don't think Columbus has a chance this year.
I don't really either, but you're saying, can they beat New Jersey?
It is like a
Maybe.
huge question mark, Columbus, because like, how good is Gaudreau and
Here's the
Line?
thi-
You know,
here's-
they could come
here's
in
what's
and
gonna-
not do
here's
anything.
what it's gonna
Like,
come
like
down to.
we thought Voracek and Line was going to be disgusting,
think-
and where'd that go?
I
So,
think honestly that
but they could put
Columbus
150 points up a
I-
piece. You have
I
no
think-
idea.
I think Columbus has a lot of really good
Columbus.
offensive players.
Columbus.
I think New Jersey has a better defense. I think that they
New Jersey's
both
good
have,
offense too, though.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
they
So
don't.
close.
I'm not
Hughes is
saying
going
they
to put up
don't.
80 points this year.
I'm saying that I think Columbus has a tiny bit better offense. I think New Jersey has a tiny bit, a significantly better defense, but I think both their goalies suck ass, so it doesn't matter.
I think it's pretty obvious that it's Washington,
I
Carolina,
like Elvis
and
a lot,
Pittsburgh
but
in the
he's
three.
Elvis is
Elvis
shaky.
needs to what?
Elvis is shaky.
Shaky. He was shaky last year for outside hockey reasons, and if you can get over those kind of things, then yeah,
I mean,
Elvis is pretty good.
He still had some pretty good
I
games.
think
but
that we're all in agreement that the top three is Carolina, Washington, and Pittsburgh
Yeah.
in no real order.
I
No,
agree.
they're
I
all
agree.
stacked.
I
Let's
don't
be
think that
real.
there is
Like,
you can't really.
there's not even
pick-
a 1, 2, or 3 because if you match up against any of them in the playoffs, you're like shit. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not.
That's a fair statement. I think that we'll have to see how the season plays out, but those 3 are a lock in the top 3.
Yeah, which means that the you're asking for a wild card,
You're-
dude. I can't give you one. I
asking
can't
for
guess.
You're asking for very.
You can even give me 2 because you think the Leafs are out.
You're getting very biased
No, I
opinions.
got
for
If you
Four
think the
and
Leafs aren't making the playoffs, you have to pick 2 wild cards.
No, well, one wild card from the Atlantic, one from the Metro.
Well, that's not how wild cards work.
Yeah, it is.
You just pick a wild.
No, you can get one from each.
Well, you
What do you
can, but you said you're not going to.
Well, no, I said it's tough for me to say which one I think it's going to be. Because I think Columbus, New Jersey, and the Rangers are all just so close to each other that I don't know how I can pick one.
I honestly,
They're too close.
I think it's New Jersey. I give New
I'm
Jersey
going
the
New
wild card
Jersey.
this year.
I think that it's possible that it could be New Jersey, but I also think it's possible it could be the Rangers. I think the Columbus is the worst of those
Pick
three.
one.
I also like pepperoni.
It's a ranking, not a fact.
really
Just
like
pick one. What do
pepperoni
you
pizza,
think?
and I also
Who you
like
put your money
pizza.
on?
Yeah, I'll go the Devils then.
All right.
Oh, you fucking
Peer
sheep.
pressured you.
You fucking
Yeah,
sheep.
Go the Devils.
Think for yourself, Eric.
All right, so we're
As
in,
the guy
we're
who
in
puts
agreement
the
that
Capitals in first place.
I think everybody agrees that the Carolina is probably the
Nope.
number one. Okay, the smart people here agree that Carolina is number one in the
Nope,
division.
they're number 2.
Pens and Caps are interchangeable, and we're all going with New Jersey for the wild card. But yeah, that's the wrap up for the Metro. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Next up, we're going to do the West in just one episode. It's kind of mediocre, and it's not going to take us very long to do those between the Central and the Pacific. So we'll catch you in the next one.
Spoiler
Thanks.
alert: Colorado's not. repeating.
Yeah, Colorado had
Yeah,
probably one of the most
there's no repeat
questionable
there.
off seasons of all time. So, yeah, thanks for joining.